Hello and welcome to Easy Like a Sunday Morn. I'm your host, Shane Lockwood, and this is episode 35. It is the 23rd of November 2014, and I'd like to say welcome aboard to everybody listening to this for the first time, and I want to say thank you for everybody who tunes in each and every week. Thank you for returning. Now, today is a really big show. I've got a lot of information here, but I think what I will do is just highlight the fact that I'm going to an album launch by an artist by the name of Susan Lily. That's Susan, Liley, and she's got a new album out called Daisy Jane. So I'm going to the album launch fairly shortly, and they'll be playing the songs on the album all afternoon, but it's a long way away, so I've got to catch a train and then a bus and try and figure out a way back again, but I digress. Thank you for tuning in. Now, this weekend, yesterday, I went to an event called Supanova. And Supanova is basically like the San Diego Comic Con and other conventions like that. Supanova is pretty cool. It has like special guests and things like that. I didn't meet in person, but I listened to a panel by Neve McIntosh, or McIntosh. She's Scottish, so I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but she plays a character called Madame Vastra on Doctor Who, and Madame Vastra is basically like a lizard person, a female lizard person, and that was pretty cool to actually meet someone like that. There are a few people that I missed out on seeing. One of them was Grant Imahara. He's the Japanese guy on Mythbusters, but he's also known for doing the models, in the Star Wars prequels, all the spaceships and stuff like that. So that would have been really cool. However, I do know that the Supanova event goes for 2 days, 3 days, I think. It starts Friday night. You've got the Saturday, which is where I went, and today, Sunday. So there'll be heaps of stuff to see and do. If you hang around for the entire day, you can get some really, really good discounts on things, because merchants don't want to pack up stuff. So if you wait till the end of the day, you can in fact clean up and get some really, really good bargains. Although I think a lot of the prices are somewhat inflated for things like Supanova. I do know that some businesses, they've just kept the prices the same as what they normally do. I think because they've priced things just to cover their costs and things like that. So I wanted to send a shout out to the Puppet Workshop because I ended up buying another 2 puppets from them again. They were at the Supanova convention, and I thought I'm going to save some money on postage, grab a couple of puppets. These are similar to the green one, the one that would turn out to be that I eventually named Peabody Johnson. Same sort of look. These 2 are red and blue, so I thought that would make a interesting contrast mix. I just got to flesh out the characters, give them names and voices and stuff like that. I might have competitions running where I do that. But anyway, on to other news. Let's see. The weather was pretty wet and wild and woolly, and there was over 17,000 lightning strikes yesterday throughout the state. It's not a record by any means, but it was rather unexpected by the Bureau of Meteorology. I saw a few lightning strikes on the way into the city on the train. Whew. Scary stuff. Yesterday was also the Colour Run, which is a 5k run around like a track, but with the emphasis on getting as dirty as you possibly can with different colours and coloured inks and dyes and things like that. And it raises money for charity. I don't know how legit the charity actually is, whether the funds actually go to the people that it's meant to help. But last year I was hired to clean up afterwards. This year I'm no longer working with that company, so yeah. But I didn't know, because I don't really follow TV and radio and things like that. I just saw a couple covered in from head to toe in ink and dye and stuff on the train into the city. There was some absolutely fantastic costumes. People can dress up in different costumes when they go to Supanova, Armageddon, Oz Comic Con, and other of these things. My personal favourite was someone dressing up as Wasp from the X-Men. She was brilliant. She had wings and everything. It was awesome. Someone did a version of Moon Knight, which was fairly cheaply done, but I like the fact that people aren't always doing the same characters over and over and over again. And if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a movie that I do recommend, I think it's one of those films that has universal appeal for the most part. It might not be your thing, but I'd give it a try. I don't think there's anything offensive in it. There's very little swearing, and there's drug usage and all that sort of stuff. So it's not bad for a family film if your kid's like a little bit older. Some guy was dressed as Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's why I mentioned that. I think someone was also dressed up as Galvatron, like a big mech robot thing. What else? In other news, Bill Cosby has been charged with rape again. And I think the count of ladies coming forward is up to around 8. So that's... wow. And, of course, he's not talking about it, he's not denying it, he's not confessing, he's not doing anything. And he's losing gigs as a result of this. I don't know about you, but if you were innocent and you were losing money over allegations, you would want to, I don't know, defend yourself somehow. I don't know, from a legal perspective, where you'd ever go. But I think that if I don't know, if he's guilty, or I don't know, why aren't there charges being brought forward against Bill Cosby? I just don't understand the legal system. If someone's accusing you of something rather horrendous, I pretty much think that you should be talking to the police or legal representation, or I don't know. I think you should be called into for questioning at the very minimum. But anyway, where are we? I'm about 9 minutes in, and I've come to the end of my written notes. What else happened at Supanova? At Supanova, there is a whole heap of artists and things that get together. Because it's a comic convention, but it's to do with pop culture as well. So it's not just comics, it's pop culture. All your favourite movies and TV shows and all that sort of stuff. But there are comic book artists that go there. And there's a section called Artists Alley, where anybody, if they're willing to pay for a table, can sell their wares and things like that. So it's not just professional vendors. You've got amateurs as well. So there's people who write and create and publish their own comics. and then sell them at these conventions and things like that. But afterwards, there's a dinner I was invited to, and I went and, excuse me, screensaver, I went and had a bit of a chat to a few artists, people like Greg Holfield. I'm probably getting in trouble for not pronouncing that properly. And David Hollett. Oh, I'm in big trouble now. David G. Williams, Michael Dutkowitz. There's a few other people that I know personally, and they're artists that started out in Adelaide and are major players on the world scene. They're doing absolutely fantastic stuff, and they will go interstate to sell their comics and things around in these conventions and comic shops and things like that. It's Greg Holdfield, I'm sure, yeah. He does a comic called Captain Congo, which is the adventures of a gorilla and a penguin, I believe. And they're suitable for kids. Those comics are suitable for kids. I know a lot of stuff that isn't suitable for children, so when it comes to buying comics and things like that, do check the ratings. They will have a rating on the cover somewhere that will say like mature audiences, teens, or suitable for children. If you have any doubts, do ask your comic vendor. Now, do I have a sponsor for this week? No, I don't. But what I'd like to do is send a shout out to, or a special thank you to, a company called Spotted Dog Fudge. And yeah, Spotted Dog Fudge. And as you know, when it comes to eating dog fudge, I don't eat anything straight off the street. I only eat Spotted Dog Fudge. Peanuts. The company's name is Spotted Dog, and they sell fudge. A rather unfortunate name, but I'm allowed to make a pun if I want, and it's my podcast. Yeah. What time have I got? So it's 10:30 a.m. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. I tried to get as much video footage as I could from Supanova, and I was going to incorporate a few sound effects and things from Supanova into the podcast, but I don't have the time to edit and do all that sort of funny stuff before I leave, and I would like to upload this before I leave anyway. I'll pause this for a second so I get my bearings. Hello again. I'm planning on doing a radio course, a course in radio. It goes for 12 weeks, and the cost is $1,100. Now, I've got the money to do that, and it doesn't start till January, but I also want to go to Chester in 6 months' time, and I'm going to put it up to you guys. Should I do this radio course? I don't know whether it teaches you how to present and things like that. I know what I should be cutting out of this show, all the ums and ahs and things like that, but what I don't want to do is become robotic with the show either. So please let me know in the comments section below, or from whichever app that you're using. And I want to say thank you to people that do use the different apps, and they leave messages all over the place. It's a bit of a pain to try and find these messages, because sometimes these apps don't email me letting me know that you left a comment. The best way to leave a comment is through YouTube or through Twitter, and the information on how to contact me is in the show notes. It's in the description box, and the show notes of the app that you're using, whether you're using iHeartRadio or Spreaker or Stitcher or iTunes or YouTube or whatever you're doing. Let me know what you think. So I put it to a vote. radio course or a trip overseas. Now, the other thing I found out was that if I go overseas, the moment that they scan my passport at the airport and to say, oh, okay, this guy's left the country, it registers with the Australian government, as it should. And it registers with the welfare office. And it's that point that they go, oh, we'll cut you off. So what I'm going to do is talk to the welfare office and find out what will happen. My main goal is to find employment because I'm no longer working with the company that I was working with. And even though I applied, I didn't hear back from them. But there are a few people that still work there that want me back. So I don't know. I'll have to ring them again directly, and I'll do that Monday. But this weekend has just been flat out. That was the other thing that happened with the welfare. Even when I was working, I had a job capacity, a case manager, and the case manager was through a job service provider. But there's a time limit of like 4 years. So what happens is, if you get a job, for example, if you're working for a certain period of time, there's a point where they go, oh, well, you don't need to see us. You don't, or if you're studying full time or whatever, you don't need to be reporting to them as often. But there is a threshold. The threshold is like 4 years. And yeah, I didn't know that. But so what they've done is they've transferred me to like another one, which is thankfully local. It's a little bit further to walk, but it's basically in the city, in the centre of the suburb in which I live, which is fine. Okay. Did I give you my Twitter address? No, I didn't. I just said that the account the details are in the show notes. But if you want to send me a tweet, it's SHAIDO. Most of you follow me on Twitter anyway. If you don't, I'm not pushing Twitter. It's just an instant form of communication, and I'll get a message letting me know that you've listened to the show. And I haven't thought of a code word yet. The code word is to help you guys, help me know that you guys are listening all the way through. And I do know that I'm partially rambling, but I hope that you're using the show as a timer to do whatever it is that you've got to do. Oh, that's right. Going back to the Supanova after party, because there's at the is it the Goody Hotel? There's a after party, and all the artists of like a certain group will get together and talk about like comics and different techniques and things like that. But I've been working on my own comic for a while. Or I've had loose ideas, but never really knew how to flesh it out. But what I would got every time you go to one of these comic meetings or whatever, you get inspired. You think, right, I'm going to do this, and do that. But what I needed to do, and this is advice from Greg Holfield and David Follett, is to slow down and just flesh out the story, write the story down, flesh it out, and then worry about the jokes and the imagery and the layout and format and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do. And so look forward to that. Maybe towards the end of next year. I don't think it'll be a rather large story. I think it'll be just a collection of stories and things, and collection of jokes and things that I'll be doing. And yeah, in regards to podcasting equipment, I think that I'm looking at some equipment now, but I'm not going to waste the money. I've got to really cut back on my spending. I spent an absolute fortune yesterday, and I promised myself I wouldn't, but them's the breaks. So what we're going to do is try and find some work in the meantime, because what I want to do, hopefully, obviously the idea is to get off welfare completely, and so they don't bother me, but that will require having a permanent position. But in the next 6 months, I do want to go to Chester in the UK. I want to say thank you to Smiler Tyler for the information about the area and the various offers and things like that. I would like to visit London and a few other places, but as always, it's been about money and time. Speaking of time, I am 41 years old and I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. I don't know whether to go back to uni. I'm thinking of doing this radio course, which is only 12 weeks, but it's $1,100, and it's for like 2 hours a day. Like, it's 12 weeks, but it's basically 2 hours a week. So every Monday you go to the radio studio and they teach you X, Y, Z, just for the basics, right? And then the advanced stuff is the same cost, but you know, you're paying money to basically visit radio stations. But yeah, you know, I'm going to pause again just so I can rehydrate, and feel free to grab yourself a drink, and if you haven't already, I'll be back soon. Back again, feeling refreshed and rehydrated. For those of you who haven't seen a video from me in what seems like forever, and I can look at the video manager to find out how many weeks, because I can count how many podcasts I've done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one. So it's been 7 weeks since I did my last video upload to YouTube. For those of you who are paying attention and are interested in the facial hair situation, it's getting a bit wet, wild and woolly, just like yesterday's weather. What I did was I thought I'd participate in the No Shave November to raise awareness of men's health issues, and I got about, because I started back in October, to be fair, to be honest, and I got a few weeks in and I just started hacking away. So what I've got is a rather scruffy looking goatee with a moustache, until I can get myself some new razors, and we'll see where we go. We'll see where we go. And then when I ring up my former employer tomorrow and find out what's going on, and I know that it'll end badly, but we'll see what happens, then I'll consider shaving it off again, because I needed to be clean shaven, I think. Yes, I do. I needed to be clean shaven for that particular job, because it was in a corporate area, so you couldn't look scruffy and things like that. You were dealing with people that had like quite a lot of money, so you had to look the part as well. Ugh. But I don't know. The people that want me to go back there only work there on the weekends, and I said to her, I said, "Do you work during the week?" And she goes, "Oh no, I couldn't put up with that nonsense for any more than a weekend." And it makes me wonder, because I was talking to one of my gay friends, and it's always good to talk to one of your gay friends every now and again. Well, as often as you can, really. You shouldn't discriminate. And because they'll offer insights that you might overlook sometimes, and they can offer some good advice sometimes. He basically said to me, because he'd heard me complain about working. He just said, look, it was a toxic environment. You know, you really should not have been working there at all. And I know a few people that have worked for the company, and there's a lot of people that just look at what's being offered, and they just, no, this is not for me, this is not right. But, you know, when you've got a choice of, you know, paid work, or welfare, what are you going to do? And if you don't have a whole lot of options on the table, you've got to work where you can. You can't just avoid work. Because I would like to, you know, contribute something to society. I've got, like I said, I'm 41 years old, speaking of time, so I've probably got 40 years of life left, if not less than that, based on my grandfather passing away at 79. But there's a tendency to go a bit senile towards the later years, so I've probably got, you know, like another 20 years of active physical participation in anything, really. I don't know. I'm still young-ish, and I can still lift-ish, and I can still take-ish to a certain degree. So we'll see what happens in the future. And I was hoping that I would hear from a few people, because apparently around Christmas time the employment situation is supposed to pick up, because there's this mad rush to get things done, fixed and prepared for Christmas, especially in the supermarkets and things like that. So they're preparing, getting all the decorations ready and doing night fill and all that sort of thing. But I haven't heard from anybody back yet, so onwards and upwards. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was good to meet up with all those artists, and I'm inspired again, and I've just got to flesh out the story for the comic. I had two ideas for three comics actually, 3 ideas for 3 comics. One started to do with like my experiences while I was unemployed. The other one was to do with a guy who became a planetary defender. Like but it turns out that the plot for that is exactly the same as Guardians of the Galaxy. If you haven't seen the movie, I do recommend seeing it. I think it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and I'm not paid to promote anything on this show, so please don't think that I do. I do like the movie. It's something you can just watch whenever you want. It's just one of those movies that's really, really good. There's a lot of funny stuff in there. And I found out that there is a cameo by Lloyd Kaufman, who wrote and directed a movie called The Toxic Avenger, which was one of my favourite films as a teenager. But I haven't really liked anything that they've done since, but I digress anyway. This has been 29 minutes, so thank you very much for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for tuning in every week, and a special shout out to Diana, and Wolf, Bracker and Raggy for commenting on the audio quality. I'm away from my extremely noisy computer. I don't know how I'm going to get the fan fixed or whatever. I'm running low on time once again. Thank you for tuning in. Please click like. Oh, the code word before I go is prices. 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 That's the code word. That's why you have your pen and paper handy, which I didn't mention earlier. And feel free to Google anything that I've mentioned on the show, and fact correct me or whatever. Ah, dear. So I've got 30 minutes before I've got to go. And anyway, so I'm out at 30 minutes here. And mate, you have a fantastic Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and the rest of the week. And make sure that it's easy like a Sunday morning. Bye for now.